Welcome to Manufacturing Talk Radio, your source for breaking news, business trends, and economic forecasts here and abroad that impact 1/3 of America's economy. And now your hosts, Lou Weiss and Tim Grady.
We're here with Michael Wilds, who is an attorney with Wilds Law, a very prominent and well-known immigration law firm. The only thing they do is handle immigration issues. They actually handled John Lennon's case when the U.S. wanted to deport him. And I am here with Lou Weiss, my co-host, and we want to jump right into this segment. So, Michael, welcome back to Manufacturing Talk Radio.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good to be with both of you. Just to clarify, the name of the firm is actually Wilds and Weinberg. We're in New York, New Jersey, Miami, and Los Angeles. Wilds Law is how you can find us online. But it's such a privilege to be with you on this very ramped up week on immigration.
I'm sure. I'm surprised you don't have an office in Texas.
Well, right now the action's right now on the southern border. But I would needlessly slip in a little talking point, and that is we can build walls and we can focus on children in the southern border. The northern border is still exposed, and we still have 12 million people within our homeland. So the whole ethos of immigration has to be done properly, both from a metric of protecting the homeland and also dealing with the entrepreneurial spirit of these visas, particularly in your space in the manufacturing and agricultural interests.
Right. So as of yesterday, it seems as though that there's an attempt to put a stop to this. What does that really mean from your perspective as an immigration attorney?
It means that the government is sensitive to optics and that children will no longer be split from their families. Due process in our founding documents, whether it's the Declaration of Independence or Constitution, applies to all persons who enter the United States. Now, if effectively, legally, you don't affect a legal entry until you're inspected, so anybody who enters unlawfully arguably has not made an entry, and those that have credible fears should be given all respect and not feel that their children will be taken. I've heard and seen online people liken this to kidnappings. I mean, the chutzpah, the gall, to take 239 children and place them in New York. And the mayor of New York had no idea that they were there. There are literally 2,000 plus children distributed throughout the United States, taken from their parents, in a democracy that hails itself as the moral compass of the world.
Well, we proved that to be incorrect over the last couple of weeks. How are they going to, and I know there are many states now that have created litigation against the Trump administration for what they're doing. Is there any game plan that will have some positive effect by doing that?
Let's pull the lens back on the landscape. The president wants to make sure he doesn't lose both houses of representatives and is using immigration as a wedge issue to get his base out, to vote their members of Congress in to maintain their base. It didn't work this week. It didn't work this week. That's the political landscape. On the legal side of things, the cities, the states, the detention centers, the vendors that are all associated with this, taxpayers are going to be paying through the nose nationally for these blunders. And it's going to end up having ripple effects through the courts, and there will be, again, a new culture that will be developed as children have emotional concerns, whether they're medical concerns with allergies and all sorts of other psychiatric concerns that will eventually evolve from this experience. The legal issues are very clear, and that is we need to have a more streamlined process that treats families with the dignity that we would expect if somebody was in harm's way and fell on somebody, a neighboring country. The biblical hospitality that we historically have enjoyed was lost this last week, and it was recounted and reconstituted in many ways by mothers and people who were reminiscent of poor stains on world and American history, separating children from parents under any circumstance is completely unacceptable. I would venture to say that this is not a Democrat or a Republican issue. It was just poor judgment.
Manufacturing Talk Radio will be right back.
Hi, this is Lou Weiss. Some of you know me as Lou Weiss with the yellow jacket, but today I'm president of All Metals and Forge Group. We are proud and pleased to be the sponsors for Manufacturing Talk Radio and for WHAM, Women and Manufacturing, since 2013. AMFG is an open die forge facility and a producer of seamless rolled rings since 1972. Most of the metal families are available in our inventory for production to help keep down delivery times due to mill deliveries of raw stock. We also specialize in machined, large, and complex forged parts. So give us a look at steelforge.com, our website, or give us a call at 973-276-5000. Send us your inquiries, your drawings, and specifications. Our quoting turnaround time is usually less than 24 hours to help you get your job from your clients. Give us a try. We're almost doing this 50 years of partnering with our clients. We'd like to partner with you as well. Thanks for listening.
Excellence. It's what separates good companies from average ones. This year's theme for the AME International Conference in San Diego is Create Waves of Excellence. Gain insights from keynote speakers including innovation expert Jeremy Goucher, former NFL quarterback Joe Theismann, lean author and researcher Mike Rother, and leadership pro Liz Weissman. Witness operational excellence in person at plant tours from San Diego's diverse, innovative manufacturing community. Don't miss the opportunity to accelerate your journey toward excellence this fall in San Diego. Visit ame.org/San Diego for more information and to register. We look forward to seeing you in San Diego.
Welcome back to Manufacturing Talk Radio.
Michael, I know that there were some pictures floating around in the press of children in cages, which really dated from 2014 in the Obama administration. Didn't the separation of children from their parents actually begin back with Obama?
The truth is, there are protocols in place when parents are accused of crimes, and then children have to be placed in proceedings and in institutions that would protect their interests until the parents' issues were resolved. And there are, sadly, times where parents are deemed to be threats to their own children. It doesn't make a difference which president these photos came from. What makes a difference is what we're going to do about this. We have a broken immigration system. We're concentrating on putting Band-Aids rather than curing the issues altogether, whether it's the family ledgers and the business visas that manufacturers are looking to bring people into the United States or otherwise. We can't get distracted by what photo was taken where, what jacket the First Lady wore, and all the different kinds of drama and theater that evolves. What we have to remind ourselves is 5 First Ladies stood up, and the First Lady of the United States stood up to her husband, and the husband, our president, then stepped up and changed course. A course that was not necessary to have gone into in the first place. And I have to tell you, I am sorely disappointed as a Democrat. I'm a former mayor in New Jersey where I live. I'm sorely disappointed in our elected officials in Washington that can't seem to fix this problem, and it's the fault of both parties, pox in all their houses, and past presidents who have allowed this to fester.
Michael, I would agree with you there that it is, in fact, the fault of both parties. Our Congress is not acting, and they're not cooperating. Lou, go ahead.
So in the remaining few minutes, because we know you're a busy fellow and you've got to go out and protect the world, what do you see in a few words as to what a potential cure is? I mean, well, I know it's obvious that we get the two parties together, but short of that, which hasn't happened now in a long time, what's your cure comments?
I teach in a law school. I'm a second-generation immigration lawyer. My dad started our practice in 1958, and there is a strong possibility of a third generation because 2 of my 4 kids are actually in law school now. America's thank you, sir. America's golden doors have been hinged open for many years, hundreds of years now. And we fought pirates in the high seas in the 17 and 1800s, and we never lost the flavor of our immigration legacy. We can fight ISIS, and we can change the character of the debate and scare people against those who have accents, or we can embrace them. And this is what I would do, gentlemen. When it comes down to it, we have foreign students in America that do not have a way to onboard into the workforce. So they leave and they develop business systems and manufacturing abroad, where America then has to compete through tariffs and all sorts of other consequences. We end up competing and shooting ourselves in the foot. We need to get this right. The greatest risk takers and entrepreneurs are immigrants. Immigrants who eventually become citizens, who then employ Americans and then sponsor other immigrants, and they bring them in. We've allowed the dialogue in Washington to deteriorate, where we talk about anchor babies. I've never met a woman in the years that I'm practicing who came to America, had a child, so that 21 years later, the child can sponsor them. We talk about chain migration. The whole notion of chain migration evolves out of a beautiful notion of family reunification, where if somebody's working hard, they're picking blueberries in Georgia, they're manufacturing widgets in Wyoming, they're going to work harder knowing that their dear family members are following suit. But it can't work if it takes an employer through the Labor Department 10 years to sponsor somebody. It can't work if somebody can't come over on a family-based visa for 20 years. The quotas are dated. There's a new normal now, and we are competing against a very strong economy throughout the world. And if we want to stay ahead, we need to pre-act, not react to immigration issues. We need to biblically, and it's a biblical proportion. When Abraham greeted in the Bible strangers after he was circumcised, they say he got up, he ran to the door, he washed their feet. He did it with enthusiasm. We should have a border with a revolving door, with beautiful institutions and facilities and food and medical and beds and rooms for families. We should be investing in these wonderful souls who are pleading for mercy, and then give them jobs. We will make America stronger in this respect. We will show the world what our hospitality is, and we will then have greater citizens, greater people who will love us in the next generation and make our economy stronger. We're getting this wrong, and it's disheartening for me to see this, and it's our children that are watching this on television. I see the Time magazine with the president looking down on a child, and I say, how do these optics get to this point? We have to get back into the substance, not into the form. So the cure here, in many ways, is what I tell foreign students when I lecture: don't lose faith. Don't lose faith, because you're part of this golden experiment. I have a book, gentlemen, that's coming out in the next few months. It's called Safe Haven in America, Battles to Open America's Golden Door. I truthfully believe that our greatest years are ahead of us, and if we're going to get this right, we need to look at immigration as an entrepreneurial tool in our box, so that manufacturers, both in the agricultural and the industrial and the high-tech and all the different corridors of industry, will get this right and use immigration to make themselves stronger as well. I thank you both, gentlemen, for the chance to speak and to be with you today.
Well, we appreciate that, but I would like to make one point that supports almost everything you just said, and that is that in this country we have 10,000 people a day retiring, and we have 4,000 people a day coming into the workforce. There's a bit of a shortfall, and unless we find a cure, which immigration could be a major cure for us, we're going to be in deep doo-doo going forward.
Yeah, and that is, I think, in the nutshell, no matter what you hear on Fox News, no matter what you perceive, the immigrant community exponentially produces more than it takes. I ran again now for mayor in New Jersey, in Bergen County, in Englewood, and I won the primary about a week ago. And
hey,
I know
congratulations.
Thank you, Jimmy. I know the burden that taxpayers feel when they have to pay for people unlawfully present in the city. I know the burden that they feel when there's stacking conditions in the urban centers, when landlords and tenants create illegal tenancies. All of these problems are happening because of the deafening silence in Washington. We have to make sure that both the President and Congress do something about this or unelect them so that every 2 years we get this problem behind us. This problem must be in our rearview mirror if we're to go forward.
Well said.
Well,
and
Michael,
we appreciate your being here. I heard your interview on MSNBC yesterday. You've really got the finger on the pulse of the situation. Tim?
Michael, thank you for joining us again on Manufacturing Talk Radio.
My pleasure. Have a good day, gentlemen, and to all of your listeners as well.
Thank you much. Appreciate that.
Thank you. And we've been talking with Michael Wilds. You can find his firm at wildslaw.com online. Probably one of the premier immigration law firms in the country, and we certainly appreciate Michael being on the show with us, bringing us up to speed. He's absolutely right that Congress has to act on this. I'm glad there's an enormous amount of heat on the issue right now, and I won't go political, Lou, on who should be doing what, but Congress as a unified body needs to fix this now. Lou? I
am controlling myself because I know what's going to happen when we go off the air. I'm probably going to punch a hole in the wall. I am so upset and aggravated about this whole situation, and Michael has presented ways that this can be addressed. My question is whether the characters in the play have the insides to do what needs to be done, and not necessarily be for party, but for the Americans and for immigrants. So on that note, I'm glad that Michael came on.
They need to be for country, Lou, and we need to send this episode to Washington. Maybe this is the one that needs to go to our senators and congressmen. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We're going to have this posted at MFG Talk Radio, and yes, we may send it off in emails to our senators and congressmen. All of them need to get it. But thank you for listening to Manufacturing Talk Radio.
Thanks for joining us on Manufacturing Talk Radio. You can hear our next broadcast each Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at mfgtalkradio.com.